Hi, boom! Welcome to Arnold Sports. I'm here with doing my record predictions, and today we got Florida. I'm excited about this because I'm a lot higher on Florida than a lot of other people. And I'm proud to say that. Now, honestly, this contends on DJ Lagway being healthy, but I'm gonna I'll expose my ranking at the end. I mean, you'll see my record if you pay attention. I'm not gonna. I was gonna say I'm gonna say it to the end. Um, so LIU win, USF win. The first big game is here, LSU. Now I know it's in Baton Rouge. Um, but I don't really think that changes much for again if Flagway plays. I don't see that changing much. I I don't think that's gonna affect Lagway of Florida. I really don't buy into the we're on the road, so it's like is it gonna be tough to play on the road? Yes, but the better team will always prevail. So I believe that if you're the better team, it's gonna show whether you're at home or you're on the road, no matter who you're playing. And I think Florida's just a better team. I think this thing comes down to quarterbacks at the end of the day. And I think DJ Lagway is special. And I think what he's gonna have between John Michael's third event, if again Eugene Wilson also needs to stay healthy. I didn't even see him last year, so I don't even know what's going on with him. But also needs to stay healthy. But you got John Michael's third event, Eugene Wilson, and then I think when you throw in two guys I'm looking at is Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown. Those are the four guys I'm looking at. And then I think there's a kid Tank, Jere Hawkins, whatever. Apparently he could fly. He's putting up big weight in the weight room. But I'm looking at John Michael Stewart, Eugene Wilson, Dallas Wilson, ironically two Wilsons, and then Vernell Brown. I think are my four dudes. I think that, and then if you had this Tank Hawkins kid, I think Florida's fire loaded at receiver, and I think what Lowry's gonna have at his disposal versus, and I love LSU's defense, but I love Mansour Delane and Ashton Stamps, phenomenal. But would his defense be good enough to be able to slow down an offense like this? How big of a jump will LSU's defense take? And I'm just more confident in LSU's offense right now. If we just look on that side of the ball, I'm more confident LSU's offense to take a bigger jump than that LSU defense when they meet again. I also think Florida's just a more physical team. I think they look like Brian Kelly's just not an SEC coach, and his teams play like it. They got punked last year by Alabama. They just weren't physical at the line of scrimmage. I think Florida's going to out physical LSU at the line of scrimmage, flat out. I think Billy Napier knows what it takes to win in this conference. I think he's built this team to win in this conference size wise. I think that's going to show. And the next problem, so that's my big thing. I think they're going to out physical LSU in Baton Rouge. And I also next thing too is I don't believe in Brian Kelly in big games, and I refuse to. And I think Billy Napier is a coach that can. I think even though he hasn't shown it, I think he's going to show it now as a quarterback. I don't think this is going to be anything for him like, oh my gosh, it's a big game. I have no problem betting on him in a big game. As long as he has Lagway and his supporting cast, I think they'll be just fine. I don't believe in Brian Kelly in big games. I don't care if it's on Mars. I don't believe if it's a big game and the whole universe is watching on Mars. I don't. I'm not. I think Brian Kelly's gonna do what he always does. I think he's gonna piss his pants. And that's just not a guy I'm gonna give like when you play a team like Florida, you just can't do that. I don't like I said, I don't care if it's on Mars or whole universe or what. You can't have those moments. You can't be out physical. And I think Florida out physical them just like they did last year. I think they punked LSU. And it wasn't just and it was on the line of scrimmage. And to go on to the other side of the ball. Now Nussmeyer versus Florida defense. Florida defense to me, I do could eat I think the only thing stopping this game from being a shootout is Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp. Because LSU off the line, I am not high on. They got names, and that's about all they got. They got a lot of new faces, and I'm just telling you, it ain't gonna be as good as they had last year. I'm just telling you that now. It ain't. So, and I'm looking at Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp, two dudes who are gonna be All American level players. They're probably gonna be two first round picks most likely, if they have the season we think they're gonna have. They were a big reason why Florida won last year, and I think they're the only because I just don't believe in Florida's secondary. I think Florida's line. I like Mylan Graham and I think Grayson Pup Howard. I like him. I like Caleb Bates. I like Tyreek Sapp. I just don't like Florida lacks depth defensively, and they just end up bringing in a. I thought Florida was really taking a good step right last year with Austin Armstrong. He was one of the young bright minds defensively. Then he left to Houston, and it's like they're restarting, and they just don't have a lot, man. I just don't believe in what they have defensively at Florida in the back end. I really question a secondary. I like Ben Hanks, But I really question a lot with was, and I like Jordan Castell or Jordan. I like him. They got some good young pieces. They got some good pieces, but I just don't. The corners I'm not a fan of. And other than Castell, I don't really like either who Asa Turner. I'm just not moved other than that. Like I said, a corner Ben Hanks is about it. And then like you said, like I said, Florida's depth defensively will be tested. I think this whole season. How much depth do they have defensively? I personally think that it wouldn't I wouldn't shock me if Florida has to win some shootouts this year because of the fact that you cannot rely on Caleb Banks the entire time to wreck every game and just take it over. And I think that's what they're going to kind of have to hope on because this defense I do think is a year away from being good enough to win a national good enough to compete at a high level, as I should say that, and compete for a national championship. I do think the defense is a year away. I think they need a lot defensively. Um, Going in this time next year, I would hope they'd add a lot in recruiting and a lot in the portal because they need it, especially losing Banks and Sapp this time next year. But yeah, like I said, I like what Florida has. I think they're definitely gonna be testers. I think their secondary really going to show something this year. I don't believe in it, and it's a whole new defensive coordinator now. And this is early in the season. Like I said, I think Florida in the shootout. I'm taking DJ Lagway and the weapons he has, and Billy Napier and his coaching staff to show up in a big game on national TV. I think this is what Florida lives for. I just think they showed it last year. Like you put them on national TV versus Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. He dueled with Dart and won. He went and dueled with Nesmeyer. He won as a true freshman. Those are big games on national TV. Like this Florida team just doesn't. When Lagway's playing, they don't shy down from the big moment. And I think this will be another opportunity to show that. I think, especially I mean, he could be desperate, but I just think they don't shy down for the moment and do that as a freshman. I can only imagine what this kid's going to be doing if he's healthy as a sophomore. I think it's a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks to ever come out of the University of Florida. I think there's a chance to be in New York for the Heisman, and I think a chance to be a number one overall pick, level player. So I think you can't speak about a player at a higher. I can't gush over a player more than I am right now, DJ Lagway. You can't speak highly of a player more than I am right now. So I think they beat LSU in a shootout. Miami, I think they're gonna wipe the floor with Miami. Miami, first of all, Hard Rock Stadium, no one's even gonna be there. I mean, I just find that so sad how like with Miami, such a prestigious university. I just find it so embarrassing how they have no home field, none. They play on don't they play on a soccer? They play on a soccer field. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's might as well what it be. I've seen more people show up to a WNBA game with Caitlin Clark, flat out. So I just find it really crazy that there's WNBA games I think that get higher attendance than Miami, Florida football games. And so like I just wanted to say that because I always find it so embarrassing for the university. Like if you ever want to be something in football, that's the first step you need to take. Get a real home field because that crap is embarrassing. So first of all, ain't nobody gonna be there, and if they are, you ain't gonna be able to hear them. Out of all the Power Five programs, Miami got to have one of the worst home field, if not the worst I've ever seen. I think Virginia Tech got a better home field. I think Boston College has a better home field. They don't have a home field. It's like they play in like a rent a stadium. It's like Miami just like, oh hey, we need to rent the stadium out for the week, and like we gotta let our fans know on short notice. Like it's like I can't believe they call that place a home stadium. It's embarrassing. For such a prestigious university, it was supposed to be a prestigious football university. The fact that they call that place a home stadium, I mean, like a home stadium, it's just embarrassing as a university, and they wonder why don't nobody want to go there. What recruit wants to go play in that kind of environment? I mean, come on, man. That's what you want to play in? Where on any given Saturday, nobody can show up. That's what you want to play on any given Saturday. The stadium might be empty. It might look like a scrimmage. Like I said, when it comes to me, I think Miami has one of the worst home field, if not the worst home field out of all the Power Four programs. It's horrendous. It's atrocious. It's a shame they even call that place a home field. That's like more like a rent a stadium. I just call it rent a stadium. Like they just like running out for this, call it a day, because like there's no way. Like I just can't believe that the Miami really and that no one does anything to fix it. I just think I think it tells you, like, it accurately represents where Miami football is at. Miami football is just like a waste bin, like just rotting away, flat out. And Mario Cristobal is not going to change that. He stinks as a coach. I don't like him at all. He's like a worse version of Ryan Day, and it's really hard to be worse than Ryan Day. But he finds a way to do it. He's a worse version than Ryan Day. This dude just I remember growing up, like watching Justin Herbert early at Oregon. I watched the Herbert Daniels duel, I think, in Tempe one year growing up when I was just getting into college football and football in general. And I'm like, wow, it's Justin Herbert kid. Like, this is crazy. He's supposed to be really good, but like, I don't like. He first of all, he had what Dylan James. I remember the Dylan James, and like he had Micah Pittman. I don't know. He had no weapons at Oregon, and like I just understand he had Justin Herbert, who's a stud in the NFL, and you do nothing with him in college. You do not. He won nothing with Herbert, pretty much. I mean, did he even win a Pac-12 championship? Like, you pretty much won nothing with him, and it's to the point where people were shocked how good Herbert was when he got to the NFL because you didn't utilize him in the right way. So I've never been a fan of Cristobal, never have been, and probably never will be. I just don't believe in coaches that just win off talent. When you have a quarterback at that level and you can't win at a high level, that concerns me. And then you get the number one overall pick. Like, when was Herbert there? Like 2017, almost a almost a decade since you had since you had Herbert. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was there 2019, 20. Maybe I'm overreacting, but you had Herbert, didn't win nothing, didn't win anything really of substance at Oregon. You didn't. I mean, and to the point where he got to the NFL, people were shocked how good he was because they're like, man, we didn't see where was this guy in college because you didn't know how to utilize him. And then you get the number one overall pick in Cam Ward, and you do the same exact thing you did with Justin Herbert, and you win nothing of substance. He's just not. I don't believe in him. I think it was an F higher if you're Miami. If you're Miami trying to win a national championship, it was an F higher. I just think I just don't unless he goes the Ryan Day method and he waits a decade and he's on the hottest seats and he has to win out to win it. Maybe then he can get it done. But I think Miami could expect to compete for that championship. I put them on the same tier as Ohio State about once a decade. And I don't even know. I give Ryan Day the benefit of that because he actually won one. But I don't see. I don't. He just doesn't. He has elite talent and does nothing with it. It's like he does less with more. And I've never seen anybody like him. Like, he's worse than Ryan Day. So, like I said, being worse than Ryan Day is really hard to do. On top of not having a home field advantage, Miami, like I said, they're like a waste bin. They shouldn't even beat Virginia Tech last year. That they got bailed out of that game. Wait till I do Miami's schedule. It's gonna be ugly. And then when all people come around, oh, you're lying. That ain't gonna be. And then when it actually happens, and you see how ugly it really is, then you understand why. Like, I just don't. I think Florida wipes the. I think Florida wipes the floor with Miami, in a blowout fashion. I don't see it being close. I think Florida gets their revenge. I think that this. I know this is a different Florida team than it was last year when they played Miami. I can guarantee it. I don't care. Like I said, Miami doesn't have a home field advantage. Anybody that plays at Hard Rock Stadium, I mean, you might as well just be playing a neutral site game because there's not really a home field advantage with that. So that I don't even have to factor. This ain't like it's Baton Rouge. Let's be real now. I don't have to factor that in. I think Florida wipes the floor at Miami. I don't think they're going to be the other of a team. I think you get worse at quarterback. You got a lot of unknowns at receiver. They have a good offensive line. We'll see how they hold up versus Banks and Sapp. And I know Florida's defense ain't the best, but I don't think Carson Beck is all that. Fresh off injury. We'll see what they have at receiver. I'm a big fan of Malachi Tony. I do think he's going to be a future first round pick. I'm a big, big, big fan of Malachi Tony. I think he's a future first round pick. I think he's going to be an all American level player. He's a stud. But other than that, we'll see about Josiah Trader. We'll see about. I'm not high on C.J. Daniels. Good piece, but I think he's more probably wide receiver 3. 4. I just not. Like I said, I'm the highest person I am in that receiver room was Malachi Tony. He'd be my guy. So, other than that, I'm just not moved by anybody at receiver for Miami. I like Elijah Loft on that side. I think he's a stud. We'll see if they use him correctly in the passing game because that's where his best attributes are. And then Mark Fletcher, I think Jordan Lyle, the kid. I'm just Mike Fletcher, quality back. Not don't think he's anything special, and I don't have not seen a lot of Jordan Lyle. I know he's fast, but are you anything more than that? Jaden Blue is fast too, he really wasn't crap last year at Texas. So I don't. It doesn't move me. Like the offense doesn't move me. And defensively, I don't have to talk. Miami defense was the worst in America last year, and I don't see him taking that big of a jump to slow down DJ Lagway and Jaden. I didn't even mention Jaden Ball in LSU. I mean, Jaden Ball, that guy's a walking first round pick. I mean, flat out, he's special. He's a walking first round pick, and you don't see a lot from running backs, but I'm telling you right now, that kid's a walking first round pick. And Jaden Ball, he just going to decapitate people at my. He'll run dudes over. I mean, it'll look like Ray Lewis at running. It's going to be like Derrick Henry. Like I think Florida's going to eviscerate Miami on national TV, and they're going to embarrass them. I got Florida at 4-0 coming off the bye week. So here's a big game. Me being a Texas fan. So Texas, Florida. I have Texas in this one. I said this one for my Texas one. I'm going to stick with it. I think that Florida defense is horrendous. Not horrendous. I think they match all. When you going to against somebody like Sark, you better have dudes everywhere, because whatever weakness you got, Sark gonna pick it, and he gonna pick at it. Um, like I think what Sark's gonna do to this defense is gonna be some horrific stuff. What him and Archer gonna do to that defense is gonna be pretty ugly. On top of the offensive line that Texas has, and between Baxter, Wisner, Clark, I do think Chris Clark has a breakout year. But I think what they have a running back there, and then you add in what they got a receiver between Wingo, Moore, Mosley, Livingstone. I think, and then you add Jack injuries. I think they're loaded. Offensive line is going to be able to hold up just fine. And like I said, that Florida defense really has a lot of weaknesses, and I think Sark's going to rip them a new one. I think Florida's going to go in like, oh my gosh, we're 4-0. We beat LSU, we beat Miami. Who says we can't beat Texas? It's a swamp. The Manning, whatever. I don't know, but I'm just telling you, this would be a humbling game, and I think people overreact to this game. I really do feel like people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh!" Cause I think we're going to destroy Florida on national TV. We're going to embarrass them. That's what Sark does. He embarrasses people. But I think we're going to do that. I think people are going to, "Oh my gosh, man, Florida got destroyed. What the hell, man? This Florida team, they just like who we thought they were." And they're gonna put more on Florida and not give Texas, and that's what people are gonna understand. Like I think people overreact because they be, oh my gosh, Florida team sucks, not understanding how good this Texas team really is. And so I do think that's what's gonna happen. I think Texas destroys Florida. On top of the fact, so that's I gave you okay why I think the weapons and Arch versus the Florida defense. Now Lagway versus the Texas defense. I don't feel bad for Lagway, but I do think it's gonna be ugly for him. I don't think they're gonna be able to block. I know they're not gonna be able to block us. I don't care about this stupid left tackle Fletcher Westfall, whatever the hell his name is. 58. I saw Colin Simmons beat him for a sack last year. I'm not concerned. No one on planet Earth can block Colin Simmons in college football, and until I see it, I ain't buying it. This dude's the next Abdul Carter, Michael Parsons. He's unblockable, flat out, is what it is. So they're not gonna be able to block him. On top of Trey Moore, who I think could be this year's Kyle Kennard, and what they have on the interior, plus Ant Hill, there'll be no running for Lagway. This is a defense that can run with the best of them. And if we need to, we'll spy Ant Hill. You're not outrunning Ant Hill. Your best chance to run him over, and you ain't gonna go very far doing that either. Good luck. So I don't see Florida being able to hold up. I don't see Jaden Ball being able to. I don't see them be able to. They may have some pop runs, but I don't see Jaden Ball being able to have a big game. Unless they just wear Texas down like how Arizona State did. But to do that, you're gonna have to get stops, and I don't see them getting stops versus Texas because we won't have Quinn Ewers in the backfield. And so like that, that's my whole thing. So I like I said, Gene Bond may pop some runs, but I don't see him having a consistent running lane. Not when Ant Hill and them hunting you down, and I just don't see them having a time like Lightweight needs. Um, to do what they want to do, especially on play action. He's not gonna have the time to do them play actions the way they want to. And on top of that, you have all this collapsing on him. He's gonna be getting beat up, and then he's gonna have to read all these complex coverages and defensive Texas running. You have Michael Taft, Jelani McDonald, who I compare to Nicky Manowar. I think the first round little safety. And I think people are gonna find out about him. I think he's also my breakout player this year. They're gonna find out about him. And then you got Manny Muhammad, Kobe Black. I just think you got a lot. Now I'm not high on Manny Muhammad. I get a lot. I wouldn't even. We'll see. We'll see what happens this year with him. If he gets benched, we'll see. But cool, the dudes Texas has dudes at corners by finding out who those dudes are, and having Johnny McDonald, Michael Taft, Derek Williams, just a host of dudes. Then you have Leonga LaFau, Ant Hill, Brad Spence, Trey Moore, like Tyanthi Smith, who Steve Sarkisian says a budding star. This defense is gonna be too much, man. This defense is too well coached, And Pete Kwiatkowski's a defensive mastermind. If he's like what he did at Ohio State offense last year, it's just gonna be too much for Florida, man. It's gonna be too much for Florida, man. I don't see them being able. I think it'll be a whooping. I think Florida gets whooped. Um, Now when it comes to A&M, they go to A&M, Texas A&M Aggies call it Kyle Field causation. I think they blow out A&M. I think Marcel Reed are gonna. I think this is what Florida. I think are too well coached. I think Napier gonna be like, look, man, we gotta make this kid throw the ball. And on top of it, you just got. By the way, playing both Texas schools back to back. But on top of the fact that you just got whooped by Texas, like you just got whooped. I didn't come hungry. A team that also whooped them. I won't say whooped, but beat them last year at their place. Um, but when it comes down to the things, this is why I look at it. I think it comes on these games come on the quarterbacks, and I like our train. I think will outplay will outplay Lagway. I think Lagway is a better quarterback than Marcerise, so I think Florida will win the game. I think they also have the better coach, and I don't think this whole like Marcerise can run it, dude. They versus the like Florida who are very well coached. They're not gonna let you just run the ball and do all these read options and just take off. They're gonna make you throw the ball, and that's where I'm concerned. And that's where that concerns with A&M. And I just not gonna bet on. I'm not betting on Russell Reed to be a high level thrower of football. I am betting on DJ Lagway to be that. And I also don't believe in his A&M secondary. They don't scare me. They don't move me. I don't see them. I think hell that Lagway will be in the Heisman. Will be in New York in December. I think he'll torch A&M. I think they're gonna have too much at receiver for these dudes to handle. Again, Jaden Ball. I mean, we watched Texas and Trey Wisner run for 200 something yards. What the hell is Jaden Ball and them going to do? You know what I'm saying? So, and we didn't even get the passing game. Like I said, that second. I mean, you saw USC rip that secondary a new one. I don't believe in this in the secondary, man. I don't believe in it, and I don't believe in Troy York. Troy York, this will be a big game for him because they hype him up, and when a guy like Jaden Ball starts coming, I don't want to start seeing you disappear. I don't want to see Troy York disappear. So I don't see him being able to slow down Lagway in this offense. Like I said, you watch that defense get torn by USC passing wise, and you watch Texas and Trey Wisner come up 200 yards. Now you can combine both. You have Jaden Ball who can be that big rusher, and then you have the four receivers on range. Michael Sturman, Eugene Wilson, Dallas Wilson, and Vernell Brown. Plus you had a Tank Hawkins. Like it's just too much of what Lagway has going on. And then on top of the fact that I just don't believe Mustard being the passer he needs to be to elevate this team. I just don't think he's all that of a quarterback. And I think teams like Florida who are well coached are going to make him pass the ball. And they have the athletes to do it. They have the guys that if Marshall wants to run, they have guys that can hunt him down and spy him. Not only on the defensive line, but at linebacker. So I think they're going to force him to pass it. Now, I did say Florida's secondary is not. I'm not high on Florida's secondary, but like I said, I just don't believe Marcus Reed's ability to like look at the field and say, what am I looking at? Because all I'm used to doing is running all these little gimmick plays and all these little read options, and I don't really know what it looks like to be a true pocket passing quarterback and read what's going on in front of me. So I think Florida wallops A&M at Kyle Field. Mississippi State, that's a win. Okay, now to Georgia. Florida would have won last year had Lagway not got hurt. If Lagway stays healthy, they'll blow out Georgia. I think it'll be the worst season I think probably ever under Kirby Smart. I think, like I said, I don't know what this explanation needs to be said. If Lagway would have been healthy last year, they would have popped Florida. I think this year they're going to wallop Florida. I think it'll be a blowout. I don't see that defense being able to stop Lagway. They struggle. I didn't even mention Aiden Mizell. I forgot about him. Oh my gosh, they're loaded at receiver, dude. But they're loaded. He was the one that caught touchdown. That I think it was like 10-0 when they were up. I know they scored 10 points before Lagway got hurt. Like he threw a deep bomb to him. I'm telling you, man, Flacco's gonna have his way with this Glenn Schumann led defense. Glenn Schumann ain't no defensive mastermind. He ain't no defensive mind. He's gonna get exposed this year. He's playing real quarterbacks. Lagway got hurt last year. He played Quinn Ewers. He played Nico Miavele. You had no mastermind. Anybody could stop those dudes. Everybody was stopping Nico Miavele. Everybody was stopping Quinn Ewers. And it's easy to stop Lagway when he can't even show up to the game and play. So, he's easy to stop then because he's not even on the field, right? He's not healthy. But I just think this Glenn Schumann is overrated. And I think it was almost this close to showing last year with Haynes King, a real future NFL quarterback, and with a guy like Lagway, they're going to expose it. I don't think they have a secondary to cover what Florida has on the perimeter. Now, I will give Georgia this. I do think their front seven is phenomenal. I love what they have at linebacker. They're loaded at linebacker. And honestly, what they have at D tackle, now I don't know about now D end, I don't think is I'm not the highest on that room, but D tackle I do think is is going to be very good for them. So we'll see what Jaden Ball can do, but I don't really think they'll need it. I don't. I think Florida's passing game, and then when you can space the team out like Florida, like Georgia, like that, okay, now we have to allocate our resources to the passing game, and now you got a light box in the middle. I don't even know if it really matters for Jaden Ball. But like I said, I think that you can just play a numbers game and just say, hey, okay, now we just space these dudes out, and now we get to the play action, and Jaden Ball starts going to play action, deep shots, all that. I think it bodes really well. And Georgia fans will know Georgia's always struggled with it. I don't know how that makes no sense to me. We're in an era of scrambling quarterbacks, so yeah, Georgia's fans. Oh, we also struggle scoring quarterbacks. So they're gonna struggle a lot because everybody where they playing can scramble. And but the thing about this year is not Nico Umeaville. Like these dudes like Lagway and Arch, they don't scramble to run. They don't. I say scramble to run. Scrambling is they don't they move around the pocket or they roll out or they escape they run to throw. They don't run to run. They're running to buy more time to throw the ball down the field or make a throw. They're not buying these dudes Lagway and Arch are not buying. They're not look if they have it, they'll take it. Um, but these dudes are always going to be looking to throw the ball on the field. They are pocket passers, and they're looking to buy more time to get to find somebody to hit open, to find somebody open to hit. And so, but they can still key with your legs if you give them the opportunity. I think it's going to be really hard for Georgia to beat. I think it'll be a blowout. And then Neil Stockton, I heard that Kirby said he hasn't even announced a starting quarterback yet. I don't know if I need to see more there. Okay, at Kentucky, blowout. I don't even know. I'll talk about Ole Miss. That'll be a blowout. Okay, now these last two games we got Tennessee. I'm very high on Tennessee this year. I do think this honestly could be another shootout game because of Tennessee's offense, where they really put Tennessee's strength offensively going into this game will be Florida's weakness, which is their Florida's weakness is going to be their secondary outside of Costello and Hanks, who he's the strongest, he's a safety, and then Hanks is a slot, I think a slot DB from what I last seen him last year. Don't know if that's changed. I'd love to know if it has, but that's what I know. So I think that weakness compared with Tennessee's strength, this isn't bode well. I do think this will be a game that Florida's going to have to win in a shootout. I just don't see Florida. I think they'll be able to wear down Florida because Tennessee runs a very high paced offense, and if they can hit those deep shots, which I'm telling you, this kid can, he will do it. That's going to wear teams down. And if you don't have a secondary that can cover, I mean, you saw what when Hendon Hooker was there. Like you don't have a secondary that can cover, they're going to expose you because of how they space you out and how they pretty much force your corners to play on an island, and you really can't help your DBs out that much. And then when they do this fast pace, that they alienate your DBs, and then your D line's worn out, so you don't get any pass rush, and they're just hitting deep bombs on you all day, and that's when it really starts getting ugly. And it comes in waves. I do think it'll be a shootout. I think Florida wins this shootout. Again, I'm coming down to Lagway. I think Lagway again. I think it's big game. Ben Hill Grill Stadium. Oh, Hill Grill, my bad. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Games of Florida in the swamp. I think it'll be a shootout. But I think Lagway. Again, this comes down to quarterbacks. Who's gonna be better? I think Lagway in the end will make the plays to win the game. I think great quarterbacks show up in big moments, and I don't think the Tennessee quarterback isn't great. I just think the games like these, quarterbacks win you games, and the better quarterback 99% of the time will win you the game. And I think DJ Lagway will be that. But I do think it'll be a shootout. I think this is going to be a tough game for Florida, but I think they win in a shootout, and I think it comes down to the wire. But I think DJ Lagway and Florida get show up clutch late. And I think, like I said, Lagway's. I just tell you, man, like these games are won by quarterbacks. So and then Florida State, that'll be a wallop. They'll wallop Florida State. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, whooping anywhere. So that would be a wallop. I don't know if Florida makes the SEC championship game. If go on my record, Bridge, I have Florida 11-1, right? You can tell by record position. But I have other teams, and the way I have it on my sheet, I'm not exposing that yet. But the other teams that I don't know if they'd have a tiebreaker over Florida or not. So I don't want to say Florida be a SEC championship game, but I don't. It doesn't really matter anymore. The SEC championship doesn't mean anything because they're going to be in a if they go 11-1. I think they will. They're going to be in the playoffs, and that's all that really matters anymore. So Florida will be in the playoffs, and they'll have a chance to go win the national championship. Now, will I think they will? No, but they'll have a chance to do it. That's all you can ask for, especially in a coach that's on a hot seat. I think Willie Neighbors going to go from the hottest seat to the coldest seat in America. So I mean, one of them. Yeah, I won't say in America. You guys like Sark and that kind of stuff, but he'll be on a cool seat, man. He'll be on a very cool seat. It'll be very cool. He'll be chilling, especially with Lagway coming back next year. Getting ready for this time next year. He'll be getting ready for year two, year three of Lagway. They'll be building up. I mean, at that point, like it'll be rolling. I think we'll look back and be like, man, remember when Billy Naples was on a hot seat? Like that was crazy. Like that's what it's gonna look like because like he's gonna be just fine. I think Florida got the right guy, and when he gets this thing rolling with Lagway, that NIL and the recruiting momentum they're gonna have in that state is gonna be so scary. They're gonna be a problem, man. And Napier, I really think his staff can recruit, and he knows what he's doing. He knows what it takes to win this conference, and I think they're in good hands, man. So I think 11-1 for Florida. Really good season. I think, like I said, I don't know if it's a championship game, but it really doesn't matter. And I wouldn't even want to play in it. I'd rather just skip it and keep the health, and go to college football playoffs and take my chances. They're not even risk nothing. So other than that, I think Florida will be in the college football playoffs, and yeah, I think I'm pretty high on Florida. Lagway is my. I think it's a quarterback-driven sport, and teams with elite quarterbacks are usually teams that win. And when you combine that with elite coaching and elite roster or good enough roster, especially when it comes to offense, what Florida has a elite offensive roster, um, then you're gonna be just fine. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I think that's that. Florida 11-1. Boom.